we are, the Exponential Files. Another great day. Jim Lowenstern, our host. I'm Larry Lawfer, your co-host. And we've got a great guest. Debbie Hynes is a three-time Icon agent. That means that you sell a lot of properties. But what?
Well, actually, I just want to jump in. I'm a six-time Icon.
There you go. You heard it here second, I guess, because you knew it first, right? Uh, Debbie,
In reality, you've been an icon even before you were an EXP. You just
Yes,
weren't called an icon.
absolutely.
what does that mean in the EXP language?
So for me, it means building a legacy. With EXP, when you pay your company dollar and you properties after that, the company rewards you by giving you the $16,000 back in the form of stock. And for me, it's changed my whole life. It's changed forget about my business, it's changed my life. And my son, who's a certified financial planner, several years ago, I asked him how long I was going to have to work. And he said, well, till I was 92 or win the lottery. And shortly thereafter, he looked at my stock and he said, congratulations, Mom, you won the lottery. So, yeah.
That's a great story.
It means
great.
the world to me.
So it's interesting. So I've had this, and I know you worked at Remax, and it was actually inspired by Remax, where I grabbed the trademark years ago for 100% plus, and I never knew what to use it for. It was just sort of like Remax said their commissions were 100%, and I said that's nonsense, and I'll raise your nonsense and make it 100% plus. That being said, you were actually earning over 100% at Keller Williams,
Correct.
and so you're far over 100% at EXP, right?
It's absolutely 100%.
And it can be done.
It can be done. Yes.
With a company that doesn't not honor its contracts.
Correct. Let's not go into that.
Yeah.
I didn't mention names. It could be anybody. The ABC Realty.
Yeah. The reality is, in real estate, there is a cap. That means how much you have to pay your franchise, your agency, and all of that. Some companies don't have a cap, meaning that you're constantly paying the franchise for whatever you're paying the franchise for. At EXP, you can not only, when you cap, if you cap a second time, you get the franchise fees that you paid them for the first time back in stock. So it's a remarkable EXP what it is.
Let me clarify, because Larry, you used the F word.
Yeah,
you
used
the F word, and you can't use the F word when you talk about EXP because there's no F. We have no franchise. It's one brokerage for the entire world. What you were saying is the cap, not the franchise, but the cap is paid back in company stock. That being said, there's a lot of people that are earning far over 100% because they don't even sell. They recruit. They are sponsors and bring on sponsorees, and they're making nice money by helping the company grow. So there's more than one way to make money.
Absolutely.
A
lot of different streams of passive income.
And one of the ways that you're helping people make money is you're also a success coach.
That is correct.
Tell us a little bit about because I know you have a long history of coaching. Talk a little bit about that for our audience.
So when I got into real estate, I had just finished a 25-year teaching stint. I taught 25 years of high school professor at one of the colleges. I left there. It was all private and Catholic schools. And I left after 25 years with no retirement at all, no pension from the state and I said, okay, well, I'm going to do something that will make me some big money fast. And so I said, oh, I'm going to go into real estate. That's what everybody does, right? I was on my last month of unemployment and I got my real estate license because, I thought that was going to be easy. All I had to do was open up a door and say, oh, isn't this lovely? Let's write an offer on the house. Well, I soon found out that it was completely different. Although I worked at the same time, I got into real estate. My husband and I bought a new home. The realtor that purchased our existing house pulled out of the contract right after we closed, and the same day we closed, my husband lost his job. And so it was one of those hiccups in our, one of those really low valleys in our life. But I said, you know what, I'm going to do whatever I can, because failure is not going to be an option. And my first year in real estate, I sold 38 homes. And I know that that sounds great, but you have to understand that Rochester, New York, at the time, 20 years ago, like the average home sale price was about $89,000. I was selling $20,000 and $30,000 homes, making, maybe 30, which wasn't enough to cover all our expenses. And that continuously happened for several years until my son, the one who told me I was going to have to work until I was 92 or win the lottery, he said to me, Mom, maybe you need a real estate coach. He says, I have a coach in my financial business. You should. I said, I don't even know if they have them. So I started researching coaches, and I found one. And my first year with my coach, which I would tell everybody that one of the reasons I went into coaching is because that my coach helped me out so much that my first year in business, I went with him, and I sold 72 houses. So my business doubled, my salary doubled. But then the second year with him as a solo agent, I sold 190,000 GCI to $500,000 in GCI. And that's when things really started to put into play. And that's when I became a certified coach. Just recently, a little over a year ago, when Success offered their program of success coaching, I knew that that was something that I had to do right away, because for me, always giving back was part of it, being, a servant leader, not only to my clients, but to my peers and to anybody else that I can help. So that's what changed my business. That's what changed the way that I do business, the way that my business runs, the systems I put into my business, and so on and so forth.
So what was the difference? I mean, you doubled like every year for 2 or 3 years with the coaching. What did you integrate into your systems and your practice to expand your numbers so nicely?
Yeah, that's a great question. So time blocking was always very important to me. Even when I taught high school, everything was run on modules. Time blocking was very easy, but when you go from a job, and I say a job where you're there at 7 and you end at 3 and you have different periods a day, and now all of a sudden you go into a career that has no set schedule. A set schedule has to be made. And I don't care what your schedule looks like, but I was told very early on by the first broker that I had, he said, Debbie, you know what? You take out your calendar. I used to use one of those, month at a glance things. And he said, if you put down the whole year, things that are important to you, your exercise routine, your religious routine, birthdays, anniversaries, doctor's appointments, anything that you know ahead of time. And he says, if you could spend half of what's left on your blank calendar on real estate, you will be successful. And he was right. And only 1 year I forgot to put my own birthday down, and I missed my birthday, and I will never do that again. And that was very early on. But it allowed me, my time blocking is so time blocked that when my boys were playing collegiate sports, I never missed any of their sports. I was traveling back and forth to their campuses, watching different games of whatever they were playing at the time. And it just allowed me to really see, I time block from the minute I get up in the morning. I time block both personal and also business on one calendar. So from the time I get up in the morning, exactly what my routine is, my exercise routine goes in there. I always have been a very big proponent of that. You can't go through a drive-through to eat the rest of your life. It's very unhealthy. I'm diabetic, and so I really try to be careful about that. I mean, I've gone off the deep end. I've come back. I've reeled it back in. But over a year ago, I started actually time blocking my meals. And when I say meals, it means sitting down at a table and eating with no distractions. Another realtor I heard recently call it AIS, ass in seat meals. And I love that. I love that phrase. I love that acronym. And so that this way, I know that at, whatever time I have time blocked for dinner, I'm going to be sitting there with my husband eating dinner. It's very important to set up boundaries. And I know that there are a lot of real estate agents with their time blocking that say, okay, at 6 o'clock at night, I'm going to stop working, and I'm going to let all of my clients know that at 6 o'clock at night, I will no longer be available and they can reach me the next business day, or they leave that on their tape. Well, when I set up my consultations, I explain to them that I'm not one of those kind of realtors, that I am always available for them as long as I'm up. So if I want to answer the phone at 9 o'clock at night, that's my choice. If I don't, it's because I could be sleeping or I could be doing something else. And I think one of the biggest things that people do when they time block, they don't follow their schedule. So, if I had something time blocked today that was for my business, if like showing houses to a client, I would have told you, gentlemen, sorry, I can't do it this day. Is there another day? Because I do not veer from my schedule.
I've got to ask you, Debbie, that you talk about time blocking. There are people that it's almost impossible for them. They'll get something going on in a day, and all of a sudden they get a call, and they have to be somewhere else. So being as rigid as you are, as successful as you are because of it, what happens when that child gets sick? I mean, your kids played sports. You didn't deal in the fact that, you have to take them to the hospital.
No, I let them go to the hospital with somebody else. No, I'm only kidding. Of course, there's always, I don't like to talk in absolutes. There's always an exception. But what I'm saying is, if I have a time block that I'm having a date night with my husband, and somebody calls me up and tells me I have to come to their house to list their house tonight, otherwise they're not going to use me as their realtor, I would explain to them that I have a previous appointment and that I can come over tomorrow. It's not going to make that big of a difference. If I have scheduled that I'm going to be making calls, warm lead calls, and somebody calls me up and says, hey, you need to do this, I will tell them no. I have to set boundaries and priorities. I never, what is the expression? The tail. I guess when I first started, I was the tail that wagged the dog, but chased the tail, whatever that expression is. I always get those metaphor things mixed up. But I would run after everything. And then I realized, wait a second, I can make a life for myself that is time blocked and scheduled, and yet still have a ton of freedom.
Right.
I mean, right now I've been away almost the entire month of February. My team is still, I have a very small team. My team is still running. It's not that I'm not working while I'm out of town. I'm working just differently.
You've learned how to delegate, and that's great. So I know it's more than time. So, we all have time. You had time before the coach, you had time after the coach, you just scheduled your time differently. What did you do with your systems to double your business every year for I don't know, you may still be doubling it, for all I know. Was it postcards to expireds? Was it
no,
Vulcan 7 calls? I mean, it was something more than just time.
Yes. So and you know what? I could be doubling my business every year if I could find people that would want to work. In fact, I could hire 6 agents. Actually, I could hire 10 agents today, and they could all make 6 figures if they would want to work.
Right.
So I do
Isn't that interesting, though? People don't want to work. Why is that? They want money, but they don't want to work for it, right?
I don't. I wish I had the answer to that, but I don't.
But we're drilling down on what that work is. You're telling us what that work is.
Right. So when I first started doing this, I didn't have any money to buy leads. So I did anything that I could, legally. I did anything that I could legally so that this way I would get my name out there. So I would stop everywhere. Anytime there was a bulletin board, I would put my cards up. If there was a gas station, I'd leave my cards there. I did anything like that you could think of. I mean, I was brazen enough that I would walk into, see builders and say to them, I'd like to give it. I've had somebody, for X amount of years. I was like, well, maybe you should give me a shot at it. I might be better than what you have. And so I didn't really, I was very forward. I was very forward with what I did. And then I started doing newsletters, which I think that really helped build my reputation. Still didn't have enough money to purchase leads or anything like that. Once I purchased a lot of direct marketing I did, like farming neighborhoods. getting to know the neighborhoods, I never, not, well, I shouldn't say I never, I knocked on 2 doors and I ended up selling both of those, double ending them. It's not for me, especially when it's freezing.
Wait, slow down.
Hmm.
So you had 100% success knocking on doors, and you
No,
said
I never knocked on doors.
you
Except for
knocked on
twice.
2 doors and double-ended both of them.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
Why wouldn't you
why
do
didn't I
more?
continue to do that? Yeah, it's not my thing. And besides, it's freezing.
Apparently it is, though.
No, it's freezing. It's freezing cold up in the tundra
Oh,
of Rochester,
okay.
New York.
Yeah.
It's too cold.
It's like the
And
antithesis of my story in Florida in the middle of the summer. Yeah.
exactly. Um, and I think those might have been 2 isolated incidences. It just, I think I was just very lucky at those 2. So I farmed neighborhoods. I would send out I would send out, I don't really do very much of that anymore, because now it's a lot of repeat and referral business, and now I do buy leads, but I still do farm neighborhoods. Like, for example, if like my son puts an offer on a house and they don't, we're still at the point where we're getting 25 and 30 offers on a property, and so he doesn't get it, or he gets it. It doesn't matter. I will send out a neighborhood letter to all the houses in that neighborhood, except for the house that was on the market that sold. And it'll say something to the effect is, I have however many other people there were offers. I'll do one less. I have 24 people that are interested in purchasing your house. So I do it kind of like, almost like a reverse psychology. Or recently I just sold a house.
Even though you probably have just one buyer, there were 24 offers. So you know that there's 24 people out there that's still looking for that neighborhood.
Yeah, or else I could even go more, because you can tell on our MLS through our showing time how many people have looked at the house. I could say there are 75 buyers that are looking in your neighborhood. Let me help them find you. Let me help them. Your house might be the right house for them. And on my mailings, the only way people can get a hold of me is my phone number. I don't put an email address. I don't even say text. I don't put my website. I just put my phone number. I like direct contact.
Nice.
So
do you use KV Core?
Excuse me?
Do you use KV Core?
No, I do not. But I just hired somebody to start bringing all of our stuff over into KV Core. I used a system. I don't have a problem telling. I use Commissions Inc. They've been great. We were one of the first people that started using it after the beta testing went on, and they've been awesome. We've gotten a ton of business from them. And the leads they just pour. I've got like 27,000 leads in my bucket. That's why I said if I had more realtors, I could sell a lot more houses. And they're both buyer and seller leads. And then when we came over to EXP, it was very early on. I've been here 6 years. There were not even 1,500 agents. And I don't know if you remember, well, I don't know how long you guys have been there, but they went from conversion and they actually switched over to Commissions Inc. But then I don't think it was the same Commissions Inc. that I have. It was part of it, but not the full gamut. And then they switched.
Probably scaled down.
And then they switched over to KV Core. But we are in the process of I just hired somebody to start doing our database.
Yeah, because KV Core does have
fabulous.
like a funnel. Yes. Where if you put a listing in, it'll show how many leads there are in the area for that particular property, and you can build a presentation for a seller that way.
There are so many tools that EXP offers that it's hard to utilize everything.
Right.
It really is.
Right. Well, it's kind of like social media. There's so many different platforms. You can use any of them, all of them, none of them. You just have to find your spot. And this industry is changing so dramatically using technology and CRMs and tools that EXP is providing for you. But you have to use them. You have to take action. You have to do something. And accountability is another part of that. So I know accountability is important to you. Debbie, how are you accountable?
So my husband's also in real estate, and my son is, and then we have several other people on the team, newer agents, but I'm training them, and they're doing really well. For me, my accountability is my husband, and even though he no longer is part of my team, he's actually one of the brokers for New York State. He manages Brooklyn. We have a business meeting once a week, and we have not stopped that since I started my coaching way back when. And we go over our our routine of what has to happen for the business to make sure that the bills get paid and we have food to put on the table for our family. So we have our accountability.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Debbie. Can we talk about the coaching a little bit? I mean,
Yeah.
it's success coaching,
Yeah.
and how do you get involved in it? How do you get clients? Is it just EXP agents? How do you get paid? Let's talk about that because I know zero about it.
Okay, so when Glenn purchased Success Magazine, I think it was right during COVID, he wanted to build on that it was just not a magazine. So he opened up, now there are several different facets. There's coaching, there's one-on-one coaching, there's group coaching, there's leadership coaching. There's also Success Health, which is another whole facet that Glenn is really very involved in. So they have a separate set of coaches for that. And it is a intensive course. I believe there's 5 sessions, and you can get into it through success.com, or you can go in through my email at success and I can forward it to the right person. And in the course itself, to become certified, each day is just makes your head spin. So there's a session that will talk, several sessions that go into the NLP portion of language, the language arts. Then there's a whole portion that goes into your the different coaching models that are available that people don't, it's so easy these days to just label yourself a coach, and because you're a good listener, or maybe you're not a good listener. But there was a period of time where everybody said there was a coach, but nobody was really certified. I mean, I had gotten certified through the company that I coached for out of Canada. So when the opportunity came up for Success, I knew that was something that I had to do.
Want to explain NLP to everyone?
Go ahead.
Neuro-linguistic programming.
Programming,
And that's
exactly.
the utilization of words that the best words to use in situations. It's really
Actually, our guest next week, I believe, is a success coach and an NLP trainer, or yeah.
Is it who's coming on next week? Is it Eli?
Eli, yeah.
Oh my God, he's fabulous. He does group coaching. I mean, he's the lead instructor for the Success Coach. There was a transition, and then he also does coaching programs. He does one, Conversations to Convert, harness, I forget what they are, but I've taken multiple classes just to listen to it. And it's funny because a lot of the words that you would normally use are some of the words that you use through NLP, but then all of a sudden you realize how you can get people to maybe change their answers on that. So he'll be a great guest for you guys. And then the last portion of my class was a little bit different because they changed it after the class that I took. I actually became certified in DISC, which is something that I always had a very strong interest in forever. I took as many DISC classes as I can, but now I'm certified in it. And Dr. Abelson, he's the one that taught ours and certified ours. Now they do touch DISC, and they also touch motives and things that have how your DISC changes and what cause and effect to the DISC. But it's not a certification for DISC. And I think the course is a 2 weeks and 3 days. It's very intensive. It goes from like morning until for me, it was from 11 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock at night.
And how are you getting paid out of that system? I mean, do you have agents that you coach, and again, are they just EXP agents, or is it people from outside of EXP, or even outside the industry?
Yes to all of that. So some of the coaches are not with EXP. Some of the coaches are not real estate related. Some of them are in business. EXP has provided me with, well, not EXP, Success has provided me with some people to coach. one of them is in the academia world, nothing to do with even real estate. The others were in real estate. I also was part of a group that coached. There was a pilot program that they put out for mentors, because many of us are mentors, including myself. And the mentor program within EXP felt that the mentors needed more training for the mentees. And so we offered this program. So we did a pilot test where EXP paid success, and I think it was okay. And now they're going to launch that so that any mentor, it was just a pilot for several, like 100 mentors. And now they're going to open it up. And then I have some of my own coaching clients, but now I have the credibility that I am a success certified coach and also that I'm DISC certified.
So we
It's a
kept
good
flying. We kept flying by DISC. So let's describe what DISC is. It's a personality characteristics
Profile.
that people have. Yeah, it's a profile. And people who have like high D, for instance, are aggressive people. They have an answer. They don't need a lot of detail. They just want to get to the end thing. And ISC, they're all. Do you want to explain a little bit about that?
Sure. And the best way for you people that are listening or viewing this is to just Google the word DISC and go to images, and a little best way you can describe it is there is no right or wrong DISC. That's the most important thing that you have to understand. We all have characteristics. We all have every one of those letters in our personality. Some are just more out there than others. So for example, as I was saying, the D person is a very direct person. I always say if they were going into a car dealership, they would just say to the car dealer, I want that car. Tell me what the bottom line is. And none of this going back and forth, because if you don't give me an answer right away, I'm going to go down the street. Okay. That's if somebody was all D, which is not everybody. You can't be just one. The I, and you know what? Ds don't care if people like them. They don't care. They have friends, but they don't care if people like them. They're like I don't care, The I's are people that tend to dress a little bit blingier. They want everybody to like them. They want to be the center of attention. So if they went to a car dealership and they were just a strict I, they would say to the car dealer, oh, I've got to have that car because my friends would think I am so cool. People would say, oh, I've made it in the real estate world. Look at the car that I'm driving. Okay. Your S personality, they're the more steady, and they, as opposed to D, they don't care if anybody likes them. I's want everybody to like them. S wants to like everybody. And S's are very steady, and they would go into a car dealership and say, oh, Mr. Car Dealer, I like everything here. What car do you think would be best for me? They would almost let somebody else make their decision. And it's funny, I have a quick story. I went out to meet a woman client for breakfast, and over the phone, you sort of can tell people's personalities when you've been doing this a long time right away. So you know how to talk to them. And I thought she was a C, so I was talking to her like a C. But when we went out for breakfast, she was a total S, because when she went to order her toast, she asked the server what kind of bread that they had. And the server, what do you think would be best for me? And I said, oh, it's going to be a long meeting for me. Okay. And they want to like everybody. And the C's are your I dotters, your T crossers, your more people that are very cautious, and people that tend to work alone, like accountants or architects, people in that nature. And if they went into a car dealer, they might say something like, I need the Carfax report. Give me any information you have on this car, and I'm going to study it, and I'll be back. And by the time they studied everything, the car would be gone. And they are the people that are most likely not to sign a buyer's representation agreement or a listing agreement on the first shot. They might be two-steppers. And their friends, they have friends, but they're a close group of friends. And unless they get to know you, they don't really bring you into their circle.